G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game of Age of Empires 4. Today we're on the map Gorge. I love this map. This is a great map. It's an open map and it's a map that you can often see a lot of action on. So I'm hoping that we're going to see that today because we've got two very action heavy civilizations. Ladies and gentlemen, our players today spawning in the north of the map. The colour teal playing as the English. His name is Weak-Minded Player, but I assure you he is definitely a very strongly skilled player. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Crackety here. And in the south of the map, in the colour blue, playing as the Ottomans, it's No GG. Now, I don't actually know if No GG goes by any other names. I tried to look him up. I couldn't find too much information about him, but he's quite a decently skilled player. Conqueror 3++, which means he's very, very skilled. Well, Crackety, of course, is going to be a similar skill rating, so I'm kind of curious to see how this game unfolds. This is a bit of an interesting matchup that we are seeing here as well, because previously, and when I say previously, that means, you know, maybe a season or two ago, you would very rarely see the Ottomans open up with a military school against the English, and that was because, as the English, you would almost always just go for the Council Hall. The Abbey of Kings was the Abbey of Memes. But things changed after the English got switched around, and it now means that instead of going into those archers that you often see in the early Second Age, instead you're moving into that heavy cav unit, the king. So naturally, spears are back on the menu. So we do start to see that Ottoman military school coming down. But I'm kind of curious to see how this game unfolds. As I mentioned a bit earlier, this is a very high action map, just mainly because you've got a very open center, a very clear target towards your enemy. And naturally, that breeds very, very good quality games, typically. Now, I will also mention, it is coming up to Christmas time. Well, Christmas time for my family. It might be, you know, the holidays for wherever you are or whatever faith it is that you've got. For me, I'm not religious at all, but I still love Christmas. I think it's a lovely season. So Merry Christmas to you and Happy Holidays. Well, this video will actually be going live right as Australia, as Santa Claus visits Australia. So it'll be midnight on the 24th and transitioning over to the 25th of December. So there you go. Merry Christmas from Aussie Drongo in Australia, because it's technically Christmas for me, though it'll still be a while before you guys get to experience it. And we do see in the north of the map, it is going to be the Council Hall coming out for Crackety here. So he is going to have the response to these spears immediately. And this is one of the things that makes it always so difficult to justify going for that early military school. Because basically now, I mean, you could argue that by No GG going for this military school, he has forced his opponent to go into a council hall rather than going into an Abbey of Kings, which is a good thing in itself because it means now he's not going to be subject to raids. It means, unfortunately, he is going to be subject to longbows, but I suspect in this matchup it's one of those inevitable things. But anyway, kind of curious to see what happens as the age up comes through, and it is going to be a twin minaret madrasa coming through here for No GG. So not going to be opting for the trade landmark. This is a great map to get that trade going as well, just simply because you do have the trade post on the edge of the map. But yeah, to talk a little bit more about Christmas, as we do have a bit of long distance mining coming through, every single year, since I moved away from home, so the place I come from, it's the capital of Australia. Not many people know it. They often think of like Sydney or Melbourne as the capital, but it's actually Canberra that's the capital, and that's my hometown. And it's a small place, and quite often people will move away from there. And I was definitely one of them. I went on deployment when I was 21 years old, technically 20 years old, but I made it back for first Christmas, and I only ever missed one Christmas. I remember I was on Christmas Island. I had Christmas on Christmas Island. And that was the only ever one I missed. But this year, I'm also going to be missing Christmas at my hometown. It's kind of reached the point where, you know, and I guess this is kind of one of the things that happens, right? As your family, as you grow older, right? You build your own family. And I guess I'm at that stage now where, I'll be honest, it's like an 8-hour drive back there. And I've got two kids, two under two, right? Well, not 2 under 2, it's 2 under 3 now. But it's man, I can barely drive down to the shops without those two smacking each other. So it's, I can't imagine 8 hours, geez. So anyway, look, I'll keep you guys in mind. Safe travels, please. It's always a tough time of year, but have a look at this. A huge stream of units coming across the map from Crackety here, and the first one to lead the charge is actually going to be a villager. Following that up, though, we do start to see more and more longbows. So he's just 100% rallying these bad boys out, finally stops it and says, okay, we can make a pit stop at a house somewhere. I guess that works. We do see second military school going to be coming up No stable just yet from No GG. Blacksmith could come through as well, and the Spear's going to look to try and force that Scout back. Scout, of course, going to fall away from that position. Wants to try and get an eye out on anything that's happening, and you can see, despite this landmark being immediately next to the town center, we're still going to lose a villager here. Oh, this is so painful playing up against the English with this early aggression. They are notorious for it, and this was something that, I mean, if you've played Age of Empires 4 for more than a couple seasons, you've dealt with this, right? It's one of those common strategies that we see out of the English. This used to be the status quo for like 2 years, 2.5 years. This was what you got every single game playing the English. And have a look at this, a forward Rax coming out of Crackety here. He says we're going to take advantage of this villager on the front line here. And that means that we can fortify our front line a lot more easily. I think he could be going for an early kill attempt here by doing this. This is not normally something you'd see for a player thinking about going castle or thinking about going for a second TC. This is something that is very much, hey, I'm putting the hammer down. It is going to happen right now. And with this Rax coming up, this guarantees that he should have a decent response here to the inevitable Sipahi that will be coming out for No GG. And we'll ride on board with No GG now. As you can see, he is struggling a little bit with regard to gathering up that wood. He's got a nice little spot. Wait, why is that? That shouldn't be a house, should it? That should be, I guess you could call it a lumber camp. He's probably population block, very close to it, 28 out of 30 at the moment. But yeah, he's going to need to throw down another lumber camp at the back here. This could be a bit of an awkward spot, though, because if a longbow or two come around here, it could idle him out again. But, I mean, you don't really have any other options, do you? Meanwhile, we do hear that Imperial? I'm going to take some time to remember the Vizier system. We hear the Vizier point come through. 3 options, of course. You've got access to the sheep. Access... Is it 3 options? Oh, I'm gonna have to refresh myself. No, he goes into, actually, is that just a meta? I think that's just a standard meta. He hasn't actually revealed which direction he's gone just yet. Not gonna see any imams. He's just holding that point for the moment. Gold up towards this western corner because he's isolated out off this for the moment. And you can see, fortunately, look at Crackety. Look how aggressive he is on this bottom side. Meanwhile, No GG continues to expand up towards that north side. Lumber camp is going to get put down. Vills underneath the town center getting exposed. He's going to have to flip those Vills over towards the top side here and take the sheep over there with him if he wants to guarantee that they've got some safety. He's also got the deer towards the north side as well, but it's going to be quite easy for Crackety to run in here and disrupt that. The other thing to note is that Crackety wants to avoid breaking up his army. He wants to try and keep it together as much as he possibly can. Imams are the option for No GG. That's what he's going to look for here. So that's the second Vil that we did see go down here. Twin Minaret Madrasa, basically useless at this point. He's lost the gold, lost the Twin Minaret Madrasa. The sheep underneath the town center, as I said, I think he probably wants to look at bringing them back, and that's a third Vil that goes down once again. Crackety is still putting on the pain. 10 longbows, 5 spearmen, and he continues to rally out Blacksmith behind the scenes. I would suspect he probably goes +1 and then looks to go into siege engineering, but we'll have a look and see what the plan is for him. He could try and do a slow roll siege engineering, but I'm a much bigger fan of, like, you go for +1, yep. And then from there, I mean, you can go into ranged armor as well. Nice little Sipahi raid on the gold vein. Definitely not what Crackety here was expecting. That is for sure. And keep in mind, he's not going to have any spears nearby to defend this because all of his spears are down on the front because he's got a forward Rax. So really, really nice play here by No GG to spot that out and pick that up. So my preference here is always to go for that +1 ranged attack, and then you can look for the +1 ranged armor as well, and then from there going into the siege engineering. And when you click that siege engineering, that's the moment where you move all your Vils from food over to wood, and you want to try and max out your wood, and then the moment that research is finished, you drop down like 4 or 5 rams, and that's what you're going to try and hit that timing push with. But we now start to see, at this point in time, he doesn't really seem to be adding any further units to this amount. No GG has managed to catch up and overtake Crackety here for the moment. And we can see that the spears were looking to move back towards the base, but will be cut off by the Sipahi. Of course, they are outnumbered. The spearman is outnumbered by quite a bit, but the Sipahi, unfortunately, running a little bit too far towards those troops, and we'll have to run back away from it. Meanwhile, we'll ride on board with our Ottoman player and see how he's doing now on the defense. More and more units continue to be rallied out. He's at 21 military pop for the moment. Just really looking to focus on this completely. We don't see any eco upgrades coming through just yet on his side. The double broad axe is the only one through so far for Crackety here. So just the single eco upgrade for now. Often you will see those Ottoman players look to try and pick up some eco upgrades in this feudal age, but at this stage, he looks to just focus on the military. Does have the blacksmith up. Beautifully positioned, by the way. He's done a great job with his base building here, but I think you can maybe fit some farms in here. It's one of those little awkward positions where it's like, it looks really cool, but does it actually do anything? I think, you know what? I think it actually does. He can put farms here and then farms there. That's unironically really, really cool. Because he doesn't actually lose out anything from that. And you probably could have done the same thing here if it wasn't for the lumber camp. Never mind, we'll worry about the base building a little bit later. Archers on the backside. Imam got picked off. Meta also going to get, or rather, Imam not getting picked off. The Meta gets picked off, though. Sipahi fighting with the spears. Never what you want to see. And now going to be looking to try and focus down those ranged units. A single Vil from this position will be falling back. Needs to be careful not to lose it. It's kind of running across the front of the base. Will almost certainly be going down here. Keep in mind, he's already managed to take out 2 Vils back on this gold vein, so that's going to move him from 2 to 3 villager kills. And now early on in this game, it looks like no GG is going to be potentially looking to force his opponent to say those GGs. Keep in mind that Crackety has really not added a lot of units in recent time. It's felt like he's been sitting on maybe 10 longbows for the last 2 to 3 minutes. So I don't know what the plan is here for him, what he's aiming to do behind this, but we do see a bit of a farm transition. A lot of a farm. This is strange. I don't know. There's no outposts up on the gold. Like, if there was 2 outposts on the gold and 10 Vils on gold, then I'd be like, okay, well, he's clearly going to Castle Age, but he's not. He's going to put a Rax down at home. And now no GG's got time here where he can try and look to punish in the feudal age as well. 3rd military school going to come up here. So moving into that extra military school. Definitely the smartest move at this stage of the game. He's got great expansion going in this western corner. Obviously got the boar here as well, but not going to be taking that as the Ottomans. I made that mistake before. I still remember that FFA game. Gosh, that was a tough FFA game. Spawn in the middle of the map. Cancelled my spawn. And because I found an amazing god tier spawn. Went out to the god tier spawn. There was a dude already there. And, well, not only was there a dude already there was a dude halfway across the map where I was walking. So I just decided I'll go back to where I came from. Found a boar. I was like, yeah, man, I got a boar. This is a great start. I think the boar killed one of my Vils. The game had just begun. And then I realized I was playing the Ottomans. And I couldn't even eat the boar. Oh, gosh, never again did I make that mistake as the Ottomans. That was, you know, that was a tough one. I tell you what, I'm kind of looking forward to some new civs coming out. I did see a little bit of chatter about new civilizations and about what they think they're going to be. And interestingly, people were saying they think it's going to be Meso civs. I don't know how I feel about that. I honestly was thinking it's going to be Spain and Portugal, right? Like, they're just such a good combination, or like, I don't know, Khmer and Korea. You know, you gotta kind of go with it thematically. And I mean, I guess they could, right? But who would they go with? Like the Iroquois? No, the Haudenosaunee. That's the pronunciation. I don't think so. Maybe Haudenosaunee. I don't know. Well, I guess if I've been looking at Civ 7 a bit. I don't know if you guys have been up to date, up to news with Civ 7, but it's they got quite a bit of Native American representation over there as well. It's pretty cool to see. They got the Mississippians. I'll tell you what. Try saying that 6 times. That is a fun one. Well, the cleanup has come through from no GG. Crackety here for the moment is just looking to rebuild. Quite a few Vils on gold, though. The transition has come through, so he could be thinking about going to the Castle Age, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think he might just be looking to stick it out a bit more. Men-at-arm numbers have improved here. Triple Rax is down as well, which is kind of wild, just how many units he's looking to produce here. And I think from the perspective of Crackety, you kind of just got to wait for your opponent. If your opponent ages up, then I think that's where you've got the permission to age up. But after losing this fight, you can't help but feel like you're really far behind. And I definitely feel that way for him. If we look at the military numbers, 31 against 23, pretty wild. I guess, going back to the Meso civs, I mean, you can't go wrong with Aztecs, right? And what else has there been in the past? The Incans. I'm trying to think to like AoE 2 and what AoE 2's got. The Incans, the Aztecs, the Mayans. Oh man, the Mayans, I guess you could call them. In AoE 3, we had the Haudenosaunee, we had the Sioux or Lakota, and we had the Aztecs. And I tell you what, the Aztecs were one of my favorites. They were so much fun getting to play them. You know what? I could do some Meso civs in AoE 4. I could do Meso civs. I will allow it. I'm kind of curious what you guys feel though. What you think? I reckon it's got to be one of those 3. It's got to be like a European-themed Portugal, Spain. It's got to be an Asian-themed Khmer, Korea, or it's going to be a Meso-themed, you know, civilization pool with some Incans and some Mayans and some Aztecs. Something like that. But take a look at this. We got ourselves a nice little push, and Crackety with the beautiful micro takes out the meta immediately. We also see the Imam goes down, but behind the scenes we do see the Sipahis looking to make their way back. Now with Crackety, he's going to be really careful not to lose the men at arms and not to lose the spears, because if he does throw those away to these archers, it will mean there's nothing left to protect these longbowmen from those Sipahi, and they will eventually make their way back here. And I tell you what, this is actually not looking good for him here. He's got the number advantage. Just don't know where all these spears are. It says he's got 7 spears on the UI, but are they? Yeah, yep, they are. They are. This could be ugly. This could get worse before it gets better for Crackety here. Nice little push around to the top side. Sipahi dive on through and straight towards those longbows. Beautiful connection here. He wants to make sure he's just striking everything. He's got that fortitude, which he definitely wants to be utilizing right now. Archer numbers have dwindled down for no GG. He's also looking to get that castle age timing through, but there's the men-at-arms. Longbow mass still somewhat needing a little bit more assistance. He's only got 8 longbows for the moment, and he's fighting off against the men-at-arm / spear combo that remains. No GG, still looking for that timing. Still got gold over towards the west side that he is... He's come off for some reason. I don't know what the idea was behind that. But we do see him putting down the farms. I really like... This is so cute, the way that he left these little spots here for his farms around the town center. All right, well. He's short by about 55 gold. He's going to move some vills to the hunt. They've got their bows out, so I think he's heading to the hunt. He's not heading to gold. These guys are going to gold. 10 vills going to gold now. Definitely feeling that delay on the castle age, and you can see that Crackety, after taking that good fight, has said, hey, you know what? I think I have got room to squeeze in a little bit of a castle age here. Definitely a decent timing. Meanwhile, Sipahi going to be heading to the other side of the map. Have a look at this. Crackety here says, you know what? I'm going to try my best to defend, but the walls not completely walled in, and I can't help but feel like this is one of those big things that players often forget. It's like, you just need to wall in. How many vills did we lose here? I don't even know. One... is it really only the one? Surely it was more than the one. MIA now coming down. Where is it? Let's take a look. Oh, is that a second TC? It is a second TC. I missed the second TC. Gee, oh gee. Second TC coming up for no GG and the castle age. No wonder he didn't win that last fight. Oh, cancellation comes through. He realizes, yeah, no, it's not happening. He's got to go in the corner. You got to put it down in the... Nah, even that's dangerous, man. You got men-at-arms that you're playing with here. No. No GG. No GG, my friend. That is not going to work. He's going to try. If I'm Crackety here, I sacrifice every single one of these units for killing vills. And this is a massive lead that Crackety here could potentially build from this. He's underneath the town center, but with the longbows, you should be able to focus down these vills very effectively. This should be enough to one-shot vills, and he is going to cancel, but he's going to pick up so many vills. Massive mistake from no GG here. No textiles is through either. He does have the +1 range number, which should help him out, but you can see those vill kill numbers are rising. He's up to 24 taken out now, 25 taken out. MIA will go down. Where does he put the MIA? He's putting it back down over here. Okay, I guess this isn't terrible now that the Sipahi are back and should be able to hold off for the moment, but jeez Louise, that was a bit of a runaround. Bit of a doozy right there. He's down about 9 vills at the moment. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, it's going to be the King's Palace going up in the back of the base for Crackety here. Beautiful little spot that he's got as well. Moving into his 25th farm now, so he'll be very happy with that. Meanwhile, Sipahi looking... Oh, no. How does it keep happening, man? I guess the men-at-arms have got a lot of range armor as well, so he can just keep tanking it, but... Yeah, this is trouble in paradise. Crackety's actually going to beat him up to the castle age, despite that MIA being queued up how long ago? This is what I was saying about, you know, just pull these vills, just drop it down here. It's just much easier, it's much safer, and then that way you don't at least get it cancelled. All right, well, under the town center, the units... Majority of them have been taken out. We've still got a couple of longbows in the back of the base, but I tell you what, we've lost a lot of vills this game. 29 vills this game. To be honest, no GG's done well to only be down 10 vills despite losing 29. That's impressive. I don't know what's been going on Crackety's side of the map, but it feels like he should be up by a fair bit more than that. But we do now start to see that second TC production coming through for our English player as well. Check back in over on that south side. It's been an action-packed early game, but just shy of 20 minutes we do see the MIA comes online. Let's check in with the economies and see how these players are doing. On the side of Crackety here, 1,000, 1,500, 1,800. We'll call it 1,800 a minute on the resource counter. And on the side of no GG, 800, call it 900, 1,250. Not a whole lot. So Crackety had a pretty steep advantage at the moment. Now, granted, there's been quite a bit of idle time as well, but that is just your typical 20-minute benchmark. So we'll pay attention now to see where those relics are going to be contested, or if they will be contested at all. Indeed, they will. There's the monastery, and you can see he's already rallied out each of those relics. He wants to pick them all up. On the side of no GG, we're right on board with him. Keep in mind, he did lose both of those imams early on. They will, however, carry over the bonuses that he got from that vizier point. And arms getting chased away. They've got their armor cladding in here for him. And we start to see lances being added in now. So maybe a bit of a mix of crossbows shall be coming in shortly for Crackety. Janissaries joining the battle. He's up to 2 Janissaries for the moment. Slowly working them down. You can see they deal out a fair bit of damage against these men-at-arms. So they're quite nice to have. But I think you'd still probably prefer crossbows just because they're a lot less gold intensive, the crossbow. All right, give me a second, folks. I'm going to take a quick swig of my drink. I'll give you 3 guesses. No, it's not water. Nice try, though, to the 3% of you that said water. All right, it's in a can. There you go. All right, I'll give you a hint. No, it's not prune juice that comes in a can. Good. There was one guy who guessed that. I'm gonna. Could you imagine if someone actually guessed prune juice? My mum was a big fan of prune juice, dude. You know that was the worst. Okay, here's a little story for you, man. When you're growing up, you know that dance that you do between the fridge and the pantry, and then back to the fridge and then back to the pantry, and each time you go between them, your standards slowly drop as to what you're willing to take. Like the first time you're visiting the fridge, like for me, I'm like, okay, any ham or cheese that is visible, I will take it, and if there's orange juice, consider it gone. And then there's nothing in there. So you go to the pantry and you're like, okay, I'm willing to take like a muesli bar or a granola bar or like a bag of chips. There's nothing there. So you're back to the fridge and you're like, okay, what do I do? Anyway, we get pretty low on that tier list before we finally go, you know what? Prune juice. I guess I'll have some prune juice. No, I'm having Red Bull, you dickhead. Whew, I tell you what, that's one of the good things about being an adult. Oh man, I remember going to the supermarket recently and just buying up like all of this chocolate and just thinking to myself as this little 5-year-old walks past me and just looks at me with his huge eyes like, don't worry, mate. Soon. You'll be able to do it soon, buddy. Don't worry. Until then, you got to eat your vegetables, mate. Poor little guy. Oh, jeez. All right, well, infantry numbers are starting to build here for Crackety. Keep in mind, on the side of no GG, we do have a bit more cavalry influence from him, so that military number isn't going to be quite as high because he's investing more into the cav. And that's quite a high cost to invest, but we do now start to see the relics on the way back, and we've actually got the first trigger of a sacred site here, which could be a little bit of a warning. Let's see if Crackety moves down towards that area, because if you know that there's a relic here, and I suspect he probably doesn't know there's a relic here. Now, he would have seen the imam over this sacred site, so he can definitely put 2 and 2 together. So I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to angle for that relic, but have a look at this. Mangonel, he's trying to chase it down. No, Ville's going to be able to repair that one up. I think it's... Oh, no. He lives to tell the tale, and look at that beautiful bait right there. Great bait, an absolutely masterful bait right there. Well done by no GG. I can't believe he managed to do that. He ran those Villes from so far away. The Mango was here and he was running the Villes. Beautifully done. Now we see the Springwood coming out as well. And Crackety here going to be forced to run away from this. Crossbow number is building. We're starting to see that infantry combination that we often see out of the English. The spearman, men-at-arm, crossbow, longbow combo. Tell you what, try ordering that through the drive-thru and you get a nice little discount as well. It's, Oi. Oi, what's going on here, mate? Hey, we're still in the castle age. You can't be doing that. Now, of course, for anyone unfamiliar with this is the new vizier point where you get access to the Great Bombard in the Castle Age. You can only get one of them, and they're not as great as the Imperial Age Great Bombards, but they're still pretty great. Where are we going with this Great Bombard? I feel like, if anything, we should be going to attack the enemy. I mean, how do you even act when there's a Great Bombard like that in the third age coming for you. What's the range on this? 9.5 tiles of range. I don't think there's a single thing that you can do to respond to this. I guess Crackety's just going to hold on. Does he go Imperial? I mean, a Berkshire would save him against that. But let's take a look and see, because this could be the dream. The Ottoman dream combo right now. The Wombo combo. The single Great Bombard. I mean, he's not looking to drive it home. We'll say that much. But the siege numbers are improving. He's up to 3 Springles, 2 Mangoes. Definitely getting a nice little splattering of siege. It's getting exciting. Speaking of exciting, you want to know something exciting going on in my life? It's not that exciting. In fact, well, for anyone who doesn't know, my wife, she loves to cook, she loves to bake, and she's been really big on sourdough for like the last year, which I am obviously very supportive of. Sourdough is delicious. Anyway, she's been mixing it up a little bit. She put in some feta and some sun-dried tomatoes into one of these sourdoughs, and oh my lord, dude. I tell you what, if you ever run into a sourdough with sun-dried and feta in it, mate, don't hesitate. Go for it. She also did one with cheddar cheese and jalapenos. Those jalapenos are a lot spicier than what you suspect. They are not like the pickled ones. Anyway, we've got ourselves a decent-sized army coming out here for no GG. I'm honestly really loving this army right now. A beautiful spread with Cav, together with the men-at-arm numbers. He's got so much that he can protect this siege with. I don't see any real way that Crackety deals with this other than just kind of like brute forcing it with crossbows. And even then, if you just pull back the siege, then you're going to have real trouble because of all the cavalry that's here. This could become problematic for Crackety. Now making his way down towards that south side. Beautiful little position. Honestly, if no GG takes the fight in this position, this could be terrible for Crackety. And it looks like he is going to try and take it. As long as no GG comes back in time. He hasn't come back in time. He's not covering his forces. You can see he's left a huge opening to the south side here. And that's going to mean that all of the siege is going to have easy pickings right now. Needs to make sure he keeps this siege alive. Manages to do so for the moment. Cav's trying to get through there. Focus on the Great Bombard together with the Mango. It's getting shots off on the front line. Still that siege is standing strong. 2 Mangoes, 3 Springles, 1 Great Bombard. And Crackety here says, you know what? That's 1 Great Bombard too many for me, my friend. And falls back away from it. But a lot of the troops have been lost out here. Now looking to continue this push. Rolling towards the enemy. Mango getting some good shots off as well. And now we hear that next Vizier point coming through for no GG. More and more siege coming up. We've got a Trebuchet coming up as well. Why not? Just add it all in. Now we've got the crossbows that are looking to try and push up and take this siege out right here, right now. Treb going to help out as it takes out a single crossbow on that side. A couple Janissaries in the back as well. Working it down and still standing strong. Those double Mangonel, double Springled, and the Grey Bombard. But the Mango, number 1, goes down. The second one still at the back. Looking to try and make a connection. And now that Great Bombard under threat. This is where you're going to be really careful. Because if you lose this Great Bombard, you don't get him back. So you have to be really careful about how you play these fights. And honestly, no GG. He's just managing to scrape it by. And I feel like the lower number of units in these fights, the better it is for no GG. He gets so much value out of this Great Bombard. It's killing a unit like what? 1 every seconds, 7 seconds. Now, granted, once he gets siege works and once he gets the meta out, that's going to come down to like 1 every 5 seconds. But it starts to add up, and he's obviously doing AoE DPS. But it's one of those things where it's like the longer you fight, just the worse it gets for you. But have a look at this. Really sneaky. Up towards the north of the map, he's starting to get some really good line of sight control along this top side. Interestingly, no walls. So, a very open base. This is something that would be subject to a lot of raids at the super duper high level. So if he was facing off against Beastie or Marine Lord, they'd be punishing him very quickly. But fortunately for the moment, Crackety is yet to punish him. But that remains to be seen whether it will be the case the entirety of the game or whether it was only just the early stages, because Crackety is making his way around the outside. Phil's down towards the south side, going to have to fall back. You can see Crackety almost managing to catch them. Meanwhile, towards the north, the push continues. Working down those outposts on the edge of the map. Let's check in with Crackety's base and see how he's doing. Oh my lord, look at the amount of food he is thinking about gathering this game. That is a crazy amount of farms. That is a huge amount of farms. And now there's no wall here. Now, if there was a wall here, the horsemen would get through it, and they'd get through it relatively quickly, maybe 3 throws of the torch. But what that does is it buys you time to get into position, and you can see right now, we're not in position, so there's going to be 1 Vil that gets taken out, maybe a couple more that get taken out. There's 2. And now we get into the wood line, and it just means that you can't catch. You know, if we had walls across here and across here, it means that you're able to catch in here and then make your way down to this position as well. It allows you to get other potential wall segments off as well. But in the end, he's able to repel this. And we do see on the edge of the map, he's going for a very aggressive wall. Oh, he's going for a very aggressive wall here. And I'll tell you what, with this cavalry looming around, I wouldn't want this siege to go too far forward at the moment. Looks like Crackety might pick up a couple kills if he's lucky. He did spot out a Mangonel near that sacred site, and the Springalds fire off. Fortunately, there's enough reinforcing troops here that no GG. He's not going to be needing to type GG at the moment for his siege units. Towards the north side, though. Have a look at the amount of units we've got coming out for no GG. Look at this, 3 rows deep. Crossbows, Janissaries, Lancers, Men-at-Arms, Springalds, Sipahi, Spearmen, Mangoes, Monks, technically Imams, Great Bombards, Metas. He's getting one of everything. Trebuchet, Scout. Is there anything he's missing at this point? I don't see crossbows. No, he's got crossbows. I don't see archers. There's no archers. Hey, no GG. You're missing a unit, mate. You're missing a unit, buddy. You hate to see it. Berkshire. Berkshire. Berkshire on the big gold. Secures the stone. Guarantees that there's no threat along this edge of the map. It's a good Berkshire. But should he have gone the Wingard? What does the Wingard get you in this matchup? The Wingard gets you a long-range unit that can potentially counter the Great Bombard. Maybe. Maybe that's an argument for the Wingard. Because you can go into... they're essentially Springalds with strings. That's the best way to think about them. I've noticed that longbows seem to do quite well, and especially the Wingard longbow does incredibly well against siege in the late game. But now that he's up to the Imperial Age, he looks to try and pick up the specialized pick upgrade. Very important to pick this one the moment you hit in Imperial Age. This is the tier 1 mining upgrade. And now, rolling towards this defensive infrastructure. The Berkshire begins to fire off on the frontline units. The Sacred Site gets neutralized in the north. 2 Sacred Sites remain. He's just doing it for the gold, though. Meanwhile, behind this, Imperial Age is coming up for no GG. Decent economies for both of these players. 109 versus 115. Somehow no GG has managed to keep up on that village account without too many difficulties. I guess he's just picked up the slack where Crackety's dropped it. He has had 2 TCs this whole time. Back towards that front, though. A lot of units somewhat out of position. Once again, this siege is just right for the taking right now. Crossbows should be able to just focus it down. Men-at-Arms going to be running in as well. First Mangonel will go down. Great Bombard going to be under pressure here. Men-at-Arms going to continue looking to try and take it down. Janissaries teeing off, finding success. Men-at-Arms have been upgraded to elite Men-at-Arms. I think they're the first unit to go up to the elite status. Longbow still veteran, crossbows yet to be upgraded. And now the Janissary upgrade about to come through on the side of no GG. He is pumping out Janissaries at the moment. And the elite upgrade arrives. Some of the scariest unit in the game. Once they get their upgrades, once they fully come online, that's when it really starts to get scary. Look at these Great Bombards. How scary they are. Just a single Great Bombard is still holding it down. Janissary could look to repair. Imam's going to come up, provide that AoE healing. Keep in mind it can do that during combat. You want to avoid getting that Imam taken out. Meta goes down as well. I'd be tempted to rally up a couple more, but he's a little bit over his head here. The Meta-Arms are quite scary. Have a look at this. 3.6k food a minute. That's 36 Meta-Arms every minute he is pumping out. That's more than a Meta-Arm every second. Or Meta-Arm every 2 seconds, rather. It's more than that. It's like 1.3, 1.4 Men-at-Arms a second, something like that. No, wait, 1.4 Men-at-Arms per 2 seconds, rather. There we go, we got it. But you can see that the overwhelming Men-at-Arms for Crackety are able to hold. Elite crossbows now come through for him, so he's just going into a crossbow Men-at-Arm combo. Longbow, veterancy, still for the moment, don't yet to see elite longbows. We do also see elite spears coming through for Crackety now. Meanwhile, on the other side, elite men-at-arms coming through for no GG. So normally the combo that you want to see coming out for the Ottomans is like men-at-arms and then just siege. That's pretty much it. It's kind of like the Holy Roman Empire in that regard. You can definitely still get away with it as well, and I'm kind of curious to see how he fights it here. Sipahi have been upgraded to elite. Oh, this could be really good. The Sipahi are incredibly good at this stage of the game with that extra little bit of attack range. And now the crossbow's not really going to be able to find too much value here. Working down this front line, able to find success. The meta is here, providing that extra attack speed buff. On that top side, sprinkled in placement on the outpost is going to stop this wall from coming up. He's still got access back here. How many farms is he actually on? 68 farms. Jeez Louise, that's a lot. Horseman gets caught by the Sipahi. 275 health on it. I tell you what, watching No GG play the Ottomans makes me want to play the Ottomans. That's impressive. He's looking really good on them, honestly. Patient. Oh, we're seeing the role of the Bombards, baby. So I remember when Siege initially got changed, and I was looking at Bombards, and I'm like, okay, but how do you counter great Bombards? Like, shouldn't the Ottomans just become like the best civilization? Because the Great Bombard just isn't counted? But I've never really seen a player get to like a critical mass with Great Bombards and just not be counted. Right? Like in FFAs in the good old days, you'd see someone making 20 Great Bombards, and you just make a whole bunch of Culverin or Springalds, and you were able to kill them. Like, of course, you needed other units, but here, I don't know how you deal with it. Like, obviously, the answer is Cav, maybe a bit of ranged units, but even then, like, we're just full men-at-arm crossbow. And I think there's a little bit of an issue with the way that Crackety's playing this, is because he's not really reacting to what the enemy's making. We know that the enemy's just going Sipahi, and Sipahi don't do that well against spears, but they do very well against crossbow, and they do okay against men-at-arms. Men-at-arms have got 8 armor for the moment, obviously yet to pick up their elite army tactics, and when they do it, it's going to rocket up. Sipahi with 20 damage. Now those Great Bombards going to tee off. Plenty of AoE damage here as well. Firing off, getting... Oh, no. No GG, what are we doing? Don't do it again. This is the 3rd time we've watched him leave his siege unprotected. Poor No GG. Men-at-arms now looking to try and focus down this Great Bombard for free. He's going to lose it. It's an expensive unit, and it looks like it almost certainly is going to be going down. Avil runs out to repair. He's not going to be able to find it. The Janissaries could have lent a helping hand, but unfortunately didn't spot it. Crossbow's doing some decent damage here against these Janissaries, but the Sipahi able to chase them down. Single Great Bombard at the back for the moment. Still yet to hit that critical mass. Second one now rolling out off the blocks. More Sipahi coming through. A look at their economies. They're even Stevens. 123 to 122 on that Vil count. A huge amount of food coming in for both of these players, so they'll be looking into more food-heavy units. Men-at-arms on one side, Sipahi on the other side, and now moving up with these Janissaries together with the Sipahi. I tell you what, this unit is definitely the hero of the night. But I can't help but feel like maybe we should make a few spears to deal with them. And there they are. 7 spears now coming online for Crackety here. 38 minutes through the game, but is it going to be enough? Trade now online as well for No GG. It looks like he's gone into trade bags, doing a 105 at this point, and the wall's coming through. Doesn't really look like he cares too much about it as he walls around the goes around the outside here. Meanwhile, towards that front, the push continues for No GG. He's going to look to try and siege down this wall so that he can get through. Yeah, trade bags almost certainly coming in. I think you'd be looking at about 71, 72, somewhere in that region for that trade route normally. It's probably 70 here, so maybe a little bit higher, maybe 74, 75-ish. Sipahi now able to run through. Keep in mind, no walls up for Crackety, mean that this is just straight through to the back line for No GG. However, that's on the condition that he can hold the front line. Meanwhile, attacks happening on what appear to be every single corner of the map right now. Sipahi are through. Vil's going to be idled out here and taken down. Plenty of Sipahi making their way through. Not a lot of spears, and men-at-arms are chasing in the rear. Meanwhile, towards that front, the Great Bombard mass is building. Have a look at this. He's up to triple Great Bombard. This is one of those scary things where it's just like a win condition that you're slowly approaching. And once it gets to the stage where you've got enough great bombards, there's really not much the enemy can do. And now we start to see that men-at-arms number falling less, and the spearman number is increasing. And Crackety trying to get these great bombards down, take them down with the spears, but not having a whole lot of success. Sipahi now moving out towards the east corner of the map. We do have the Berkshire Palace, which will be able to protect these vills. However, they'll need to still jump inside if they really want to stay alive. All right, there we go. They've moved back a little bit safer. Berkshire is going to try and defend, but he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's just going to be able to take them out. 125 versus 107 vills now. Great bombards continue to work down these troops at the front. We can see the double shots off towards the front line. Oh, they don't care about it at all. Tell you what, man. This is starting to look like a really, really tight game that has just gone very quickly over towards the Ottomans in the last 2 or 3 minutes. The bombard mass has not been dealt with. How do you even deal with this unit? I don't understand how you're meant to beat it. Like, if you've got a player who plays perfectly and protects the bombards, what's the play? 11 tiles of range, dude. That's ridiculous. Look at the AoE. He takes out one unit and then does half the health of all the units standing nearby. Sacred Site's now capped 41 minutes into the game, and this is where you got to start treating that seriously. A lot of these units do go down. The Great Bombard's going to be exposed on this front line. Is he going to be able to defend? Let's have a look and see as the Great Bombards try and tee off towards them. He's not able to. He's going to lose them here. And I guess your answer to the Great Bombards is just that, sure, they're good, but they just don't do enough DPS? Maybe that's, like, they don't really take up that much pop, do they? They're 3 pop each, aren't they? Or are they 4 pop each? Let's review the figures. Give me a second here. Where does he produce that? Here we go. Yeah, they're 4 pop each. So it's like 4 Janissaries, basically, which is a decent amount of DPS. 4 Janissaries, but still. Great Bombard now behind the walls. Sacred Victory approaching. Cannon emplacement coming through on this outpost. If it comes online, it could be disastrous for Crackety. Janissary looking to try and repair up the Great Bombard. Will probably get taken out, but he's daisy chaining a couple in. Have a look at this. Also, Randy the Reboldiquin going to be coming up the rear, looking to help out Great Bombard, trying to escape out. Plenty of infantry in here. Crackety here has got the answer. Reboldiquin gets taken out by the longbows before it even gets any shots off. And now that siege for no GG has definitely been sorted out by Crackety for the moment. And it feels like numbers are just the way to beat it. If you want to know how to beat the Great Bombard, numbers. You just need more than what your enemy's got. That's pretty much the answer to the question. At least that's the way it seems. So maybe you've just got to kind of wait till you're on the defense. And then that's when you can do it. Bit of an interesting farming position there for Crackety. I suspect it probably won't be... Why not just over here? Frontline farming at your finest. Outpost coming up right now. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, like, what are the numbers that we're looking at here? 2,700, 3,800, 6,000. It's a lot of resources coming in for no GG. Meanwhile, on the side of Crackety, it's about similar, maybe a little bit less for him. All right, well, triple bombard threat now. Another Reboldiquin coming up the rear. Another bombard as well. And so this is where it becomes problematic, right? When you've got them in this nice little position in this pocket that is defended, how do you stop this? All right, he's going to try some horsemen around the top. They're elite upgraded. They get shut down very quickly by the Janissaries, which are getting picked up by the longbows. I think the biggest issue that Crackety may have made is by going for this Berkshire. Sure, you defend down here, but missing out on the wind guard is huge, right? Having those rangers just to help out in this kind of fight is so massive, right? They're really population efficient units, DPS wise, as well as like just from a range perspective as well. Having that extra little bit of range really helps them out. But now towards the north, Crackety's under pressure on multiple fronts. It's beginning to crack. Now running for his dear life as the Vils make their way to the back. He's down 15 Vils at the moment. More forward-facing farms as the Springald looks to take them out. He's going to have to cancel those ones and put them back towards the safety of the map. Quadruple bombard now. How do you even stop this unit? And look at this. Imam together with the meta at the back. I love this. This is exactly what you want. The only thing that's missing here is siege crews. He's got an attack every 6.15 seconds now. Pushing down upon that English defense. Still 170 pop. Yet to reach max pop at this stage of the game. He needs to hit max pop before he takes the fight. That is for sure. He's cleaned up this mess in the north. Landmarks are going to start being threatened now. The council hall going to be the first one to go down. Still want to avoid fighting at this point. We're at 186 pop. I'd still be tempted to try and hit 200 and then take the fight. But he's going to go for it. Now the English on the defense. Up against the Great Bombards and Randy. Randy gets focused down immediately by those longbowmen. Meanwhile, on the backside, the Great Bombards continue to tee off. Nothing even looking sideways at them. A couple horsemen make their way back. Sipahi going to meet them. Taken out together by the Janissaries. The Janissaries getting focused down by those longbows. Meanwhile, the front is holding. A combination of men-at-arms and Sipahi holding out for no GG, and he's able to force Crackety down. I think the difference in that fight may have been the timing. If Crackety had waited just another 30 seconds, he would have hit max pop, and then he would have had that reinforcement, that instantaneous reinforcement coming through from all these men-at-arms that are just dying on the front. But now, the first of the landmarks has fallen. Look at the resource count coming through for no GG. Meanwhile, for Crackety, 140 out of 200. I think this might be it. I don't see any way he's getting back into this. The Bombard number's too high, ladies and gentlemen. There's no coming back from this many Bombards. Just as I say that, have a look at this. Just as I say that, he's like, actually, Drongo, we put some men-at-arms up the inside. We've got it. We're okay. Revoltiquin's here. He's got backup Bombards. Don't worry. Oh my god, he kept it alive. 16. He's done that twice now. 16 health. The Grey Bombard gets away. He smoked him. Look at that. Not a chance, mate. Not a chance. And behind the scenes, Vil count is going down. He's down to 90 Vils. He's losing them everywhere. Underneath the secondary town center as well. Getting cleaned up here. Meanwhile, the landmarks are being worked down. It's going to be the town center that's focused now. Council hall already gone. And the Great Bombard just slowly working down all the production facilities. You can't help but feel like Crackety here. There's going to be Crackety there very, very soon. Because it's only a matter of time until those G's get typed. Even though his name might be no GG, he's going to be forcing out one today. Crackety here on the defense. Slowly but steadily working down these troops. Is there any way that he comes back into this? He's down 40 Vils. He's down... No, there's no way. There's literally no way. It's impossible at this point. That you've got... If the enemy had a king that you could snipe, maybe. But there's no king to snipe. And because there's no king to snipe, there's no way back into it. You'd have to go for landmarks. And even then, you're never going to beat the Great Bombard in a race when they're this close to your base. It ain't going to happen, Chief. Vil's going down. Has Crackety just walked away from the computer? He has. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it. Good game. Well played as Crackety here taps out and no GG takes the victory. I tell you what, man, those Great Bombards, I'm still kind of in like two minds about it, but I've got a feeling once they get to critical mass, it's good game. Anyway, go check out Crackety. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and have a great new year.